Okay, we are doing the famous Ferris wheel problem. Well, not famous it is, but we're doing the Ferris wheel problem. It says you board a Ferris wheel that has a diameter of 260 feet. So let's visualize that. Ferris wheel is this circular deal. 260 feet says that's the diameter. What's diameter? All the way across. So I'm going to label this all the way across. This is 260 feet. That's a large Ferris wheel. All right, and it says you ride it 5 times around. All right, when you board the Ferris wheel, you walk upstairs to a boarding platform. So I'm going to draw my boarding platform here. And this is 10 feet. So visualize you walk up to the platform here, and now you're on the Ferris wheel. You sit down on the Ferris wheel, and you can go around the Ferris wheel. You're going around once, twice, you get the point. That's 5 times around. All right. It said the total time that you are on the Ferris wheel is 50 minutes for these 5 times around. It says write the equation and sketch the graph with the appropriate intervals. Well, first, let's just draw an XY graph so we can visualize this. All right. Well, we need to focus on one cycle of the function. Well, if the total time you're on this ride is 50 minutes and you were on it 5 times around, well, what's the time for one cycle? So you got 50 minutes total, 5 times around. Well, just go 50 divided by 5. So 50 minutes divided by 5 times around. Well, how much is it for one time around? 50 divided by 5, that's 10. So 10 minutes per interval. So 10 minutes will be your period for one cycle of the function. So 10 is going to go here on the end. All right. Now visualize. Let's go over here to the y-axis to understand. On my y-axis, what's the lowest point of the graph? That's where you get on to your Ferris wheel. So that's going to be 10. So this is going to be 10 here, 10 feet. Now visualize from the 10 feet. If you're here at 10 feet, you're just getting on the Ferris wheel. If you go all the way to the top of the Ferris wheel, you're at 260 plus 10. See that? So that'll be 270. All right. So now, what if you were halfway on the Ferris wheel, which will be about right here? Well, you're half of 260 plus the 10. Well, half of 260 is 130. So you're at 130 plus 10, which is 140. So now we have our middle of our function. So let's draw this so we can visualize. That's your middle. And let's visualize, let's go ahead and draw your intervals. Your intervals, since I know it's either sine or cosine because that's in the directions, I'm going to take my period and divide it up into 4 groups. So basically take 10 and divide it by 4 or multiply by 1/4. So 10 divided by 4, I like to do this either way you want to do it. You put in your calculator, but just take half and then take half again. You don't have to do that, but that's just one way to think about it. Half of 10 is 5. Half of 5 is 2.5. So you're really counting. So if I went 10 divided by 4, it's 2.5. And 2.5, I keep adding it. 2.5 plus 5 is 5. 5 plus another 2.5 is 7.5. If I add it again, I get to 10. All right. So now you have your intervals. Now let's sketch the graph. We're almost there. Well, my graph, notice you get on the Ferris wheel at the bottom. No one gets on the Ferris wheel at the top, unless you got a plane and you're crazy. But you're going to start here at the bottom at 10. So that's why you're going to start here. So at 0 time, you're at 10 feet. At 2.5, in this case it's minutes, you're going to be here. You're part of the way, actually a fourth. So you're going to be here. If I go to 5, halfway, you're going to be all the way at the top. Now keep going. And what function is this, which everyone should know. This is negative cosine. So I know it's negative cosine, so my equation for negative cosine will be y equals negative a cosine bx plus d. So now we have the graph. Now we need to write the equation. So now you're going to have y equals, well, I need the amplitude. So it's negative of the amplitude. The amplitude is the distance from the middle to the high or the middle to the low. They're the same. You can just subtract these. 140 minus 10, that's going to be 130. So it's going to be negative 130. And it's always half of the diameter is also the amplitude. Another way to think about it. So negative 130 cosine, and remember b, which is the frequency or the number in front of x, is always 2 pi divided by the period. And in this case, my period happens to be 10. So it's going to be 2 pi over 10. And this one, since it's a nice, neat fraction, we can go ahead and just reduce this. So that'll be pi over 5. So it's going to be pi over 5x plus, and d is your middle, which happens to be 140. Done. That's all you need for this one. We'll do something more with this later, but as far as of this moment, that's all we need to do with the Ferris wheel problem.